Welcome everybody to the 98th CICMQ Zoom 11s calls, and thank you very much everyone for joining. Today, really pleased that we have got an organisation called ARCO, and who are they, you ask? Well, we're Karen Holdstock, Lindsay Jones and Alan Wardrobe will tell you all about that. ARCO are an interesting organisation. They are a safety organisation. So they were heavily involved last year in the PPE activity, and as a result of that, they've got some interesting slides and stuff coming up here as well. They are also the first organisation to actually complete a virtual CICMQ assessment after lockdown in May. We hadn't done any from March to May, and so ARCO were the first organisation that we did a completely remote virtual assessment for. And of course, we've got on the line also our friends from Atradius, Yvette Gray, who was the first organisation to go through a virtual workshop approach on there. So that's quite a couple of milestones on that one. We've also got a couple of interesting things that came out of, I was quickly flicking through the report from ARCO today, and we had, and there's something that they say, one of the responsibilities of their team in their cash collection team, and this is a direct quote from the piece of paper, that the actual list of things that they're responsible for, and it says they're responsible for taking all the moans from account managers, and that's actually documented in their responsibilities. And they also have a thing called big, hairy, audacious goals. Yeah, goals was the word there. What I'll do is I'll share my screen, and I'll hand over to Karen and others. And at the end of this session, we've also got a short poll all about working environments and stuff like that, which I think would be quite interesting for everybody to take part in as well, and to give us an update on where we were or where we are now. So I'm just going to share my screen now, and I'll be handing over to Karen. So, okay, so everybody can, if you see my screen, put your thumbs up. Great stuff, thank you very much. And I'll hand over to Karen Holdstock and the team from ARCO.
Morning, everybody. So thanks for the invitation, Chris. I wanted to give some insight to how ARCO have got through the last 15 months in credit control mainly. Looking back, I think how we have done this, and Alan will go into a lot more detail on it, is we've been successful in the team due to all the hard work that we all been putting in over the last 5 years, with working with sales and the business understanding the cash flow is important. And dare I say that famous saying of a sale is only a sale once it's paid. Prior to COVID, we had regular calls with our sales on a monthly basis, and each of our credit controllers also have direct contacts with each of their sales owner. But what I want to do is just we're just going to go through how we've done over the last 15 months. So if you just want to flick the slide to number 3, Chris, next one, great. Okay, so for those who don't know about ARCO, yes, we are a PPE company. Our main purpose and our main driver is basically to keep people safe at work. That's what we aim to do, and to get people home safely as well. Our company's it's a family-run company, and it's been around since 1884. Originally, at one point, I think we actually did tennis balls, because when I was a kid, I actually bought some tennis balls and tennis gear from them. So they have sort of gone slightly more into the PPE market to where they originally started. We've got over 1,800 staff employees throughout national. A lot driven around the sales area, a lot in our regional sites, but our main office is in Hull, where our national distribution centre is. And we've invested recently really heavily in a new distribution centre and a new head office, which we'll come on to shortly. Our turnover for our business is around 250 million, but we have over 170,000 products that we actually sell out there. And we also do a lot for our staff. So We support charities, and we've just done some recently because obviously we haven't been doing much charity work and supporting in that office, and we've just distributed quite a lot of funds out to local charities and what the employees have recommended to actually, you know, support that. And all our staff all get, or prior to COVID, would have done two community days of their choice out, and they get paid for it. But obviously, in the last 12 months, our products have been very in high demand, and we've, you know, we have continued to supply our customers, our existing customers, and healthcare. So there was sort of our two main focuses for the last 15 months. Do you want to flick the slide, Chris? Thank you. So since March 2020, or just literally before COVID, my role changed just from looking after the accounts payable and accounts receivable teams to involve all shared service within the finance. And that sort of relates to everything within finance other than sort of what I would class as core finance, i.e. the profit and loss, and where you need true accountants to actually do the job for you. So I'm looking after both all the transaction areas, so for banking, customer rebates, vendor rebates, payrolls, and any sort of finance projects that we have. So we have continued to do a lot of continuous improvement in the last 15 months. My team roughly is around 45 FTE, but I have 66 staff. We have a lot of part-time people, which over the last sort of 15 months has worked sort of in our favour as well. But what we've done is our main focus has been working very closely with the sales and the sales teams. And as I've said, prior to that, we were working really well with them. We'd have monthly meetings with them. We would also get our staff to work with their sales guys, but myself and Alan would have meetings with the regional sales directors and with the head of sectors each month to keep them on track to where their customers was, how they was paying, who wasn't paying, etc. But over the last 15 months, that has really ramped up. So at one point, especially when obviously the stock was in high demand, we had the relationship with the sales where they was actually agreeing payment terms for us, as in advance payments. They were getting shorter payment terms of 7 days, 10 days, 30 days. And that was also from a financial perspective to keep the supply chain going, because obviously we had to buy the stock, we needed the money to buy the stock, and we had to guarantee our, you know, the goods from our vendors. So our customers supported that really well. And what we also found was if a customer wasn't paying to terms, who had agreed to say pay 7 days or 10 days, myself and the regional sales directors set up what we called a Naughty Thursday call, which basically meant if that so they got told on the Monday who hadn't paid, and trust me, there was amazing how many of the customers got the payments agreed and sorted before the sales guy came on that naughty call on a Thursday, because they just didn't want to be on it. And that worked really, really well. I think also what has helped us as well is our customer needed our products, and it helped us to get further up the chain on making it, you know, priority to pay ARCO as well. But some of the success for us, and saying Alan will go into a lot more about how we got it, but for me, sort of the main driver was, you know, we had, by sort of as we called out of COVID, because we feel like we have slightly come out of it from a stock perspective, we had 99% of our invoices over £10,000 paid within 30 days. So, you know, we're back into the functionality of our just general business as usual, and we have customers from small, medium, right through to our big corporate areas. The one thing for me, what I was looking at throughout this was, you know, what's one thing what would keep me awake at night? And for me, it was, prior to COVID, was credit insurance. It was something we didn't have. And I was concerned that no matter how well my team do, how well we collect, you know, we did have some significant values of money sat on the accounts, even in current accounts. So we looked at getting some insurance just prior to COVID coming in. And obviously for me, you know, going forward. That's probably where I would see, you know, insolvency has been quite a risk area going forward. So I'm going to hand over to Alan now, who will go through some of the detail around the people and what we've done in the last 15 months.
Thanks, Chris. Morning, everybody. Alan Wardrobe, I'm the Accounts Receivable Manager. Last year's been a bit of a year for everybody, as we all know. So I'm the Accounts Receivable Manager. I'm also the office postman, or I've been for the last year. And I also played Dame Trot in the Pantomime. I'll come on to that later. So I am open to bookings for this year's. And when you see a bit of the Pantomime later, you may want to hire me. Get in quick, because it's well worth the money, well worth the money. As I say, I'm going to go through the year to remember in ARCO, and it's a year you'll all be familiar with. A year that we've had lots of adversity, challenges thrown our way. So I'm not going to preach to you all, we did this, we did this. You'll all be familiar with what came and hit us. But I just want to tell you ARCO's story. I'm also the office motivator or clown, whatever you want to call it. Big on motivating our staff to hit our targets and get to our incentives. So I'll run through the year. It starts around about Christmas time. We assess our debt book in regards to looking at where we want to be at year end. And we always look at a reduction of around 25% in the next 6 months to hit our target. As we get towards April, so April, May, June, we set up an incentive for the floor. Ironically, this year's, as you can see on the first picture there, was one called Around the World in 90 Days. The plan was to, every time we hit a debt target, we'd travel to a different country, we'd pick up some goodies for the staff, we'd dish them out. We heard about a pandemic, we heard about COVID, we didn't know about a pandemic. As we got towards the end of April, some of our target airports were closing. So we were crossing them off the board daily. And then we realized we weren't going to go around the world in 90 days. We might have to just go around England. Then we locked down. We're going nowhere. So our incentive went out the window, to be honest. And then within no time whatsoever, bang, we closed the office. We all had to go home like everybody else. Lots and lots of challenges. One for ARCO and one for us was that nobody had a laptop. So if you can imagine, myself, Karen maybe, but none of the team whatsoever had a laptop. And it wasn't just finance. I think the full ARCO was like that. So the IT team was set out a challenge, and I think they did a 6-month project within 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So it was bedlam, absolutely bedlam. And my worries, obviously, would be being the accounts receivable manager is how are we going to hit our target, and how am I going to support my staff? What happened? I mean, they all came in, we set them all up laptops, and it became a bigger worry when somebody actually came in and we handed over the laptops and they tipped it upside down about 4 ways, looking for an on-off button. And that shows you where it was. It's inside the lid. Do you know? And I thought, we're never going to get to target here. They don't even know where the on-off button is. Went home, had to set up all the Zoom calls like everybody else, keeping in touch. And I think somebody just asked her a question about part-timers. I'll just go back onto the...
Yeah, it says, you mentioned having part-time staff work for you. Have you found benefits and disadvantages?
Yeah, and it goes into the next bit. So we supported our home staff, and as you all know, schools were shutting, everything was shutting. The benefits around the part-timers, what came back to help us was they could go and do the school runs. They didn't have to rush into the office. They can go and pick the kids up. They could spend time with the children, and we let them spend time with the children during the day for schooling, and they do our hours later. So we could shuffle our hours. So it became really beneficial to us, to be honest. And we tended to get more out of some of the staff doing that than what we would in the office. There was no commute. They were there. They were on hand for us. So whoever asked that question, that was one of the biggest benefits I think we had.
So it's a more flexible workforce, really, you had.
More flexible by a long way, yeah. You know, we decided that, you know, somebody did the school run 9:30 till 2:30. Actually, they still had to school that child at home. So we let them log on at 3:30, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. And we went into, and we'll go a bit further down. What we didn't realize when we went home is that working for a PPE company, We had our targets, but our workload tripled, if not went through the roof, 4 or 5 times as much. So that flexibility was brilliant because we had orders coming in all through the day, all through the night. It was ridiculous. And by having them staff on hand to help us was fantastic. So we benefited massively through that. And I think going forward, it's something that we'll always look to use, a more flexible approach to the working day. So we did that. We shuffled our staff. We set up our morning calls. We set up a weekly quiz to motivate the staff. We had more people, some people in our office who didn't talk to each other, bonded. It was fantastic. We'd log off at 4:45, 4:45 on a Friday, and all share a drink and a quiz. So it was absolutely fantastic. One of the big highlights was Lindsay wearing a mask. Looks miles better with a mask, as you can see from the picture.
Thank you.
That's no problem whatsoever, Lindsay. As we say, the demand went through the roof. So we chartered 10 planes to bring mass PPE in. We gave all of our staffs 100 masks each as well. So we delivered all of the 1,800 staff around the country received 100 masks for their own use, which Lindsay is the reason for Lindsay wearing hers there. She was modelling it for us and to say thanks to the company.
Another question, Alan, while you're talking about staff and stuff, did you have any controls in place that people were not working too long hours in the new flexible workplace? That's from Paul.
Yeah, the controls, like you say, we had the morning meetings. We'd find out who wanted what. They'd work more. When I say work more, it'd be the odd half hour more at the end of the day because they felt, obliged, if you like. But there was nobody working except for myself and Karen, 10, 12 hours a day, I think. But no, it was all more of a, you work 5 hours, do it when you want. Not you work 5 hours, I want 7 back. So the controls were there that we worked as adults and we agreed that in the morning.
Right.
If that's all right, Paul.
And Alan, and I'll just say, and some of the people that did do, maybe not just within Alan's area, but within the finance team, especially some of my areas that did do some long hours, they've all been given the time back. So they would have banked the hours, and then we gave them, Christmas was a good time when we let a lot of people use their hours that they'd overdone, sort of thing. So, we don't want people to do, if they do extra hours, great, but, we make sure people get the time back.
Okay, thanks.
We went on to, and as I've alluded to at the beginning, I became the office postman. We realised that our posts would still come in. We still received 200k a week in checks. We still had to pick them checks up. We still had to deliver those checks to somebody's house on the team to post manually for us. We had to go back to the house. We had to take them to the bank. So there was lots of running about to do. Part of that as well was delivering chairs to people. We have a very needy workforce, the manager being one of them, who decided she wanted a chair, which opened up the floodgates. Karen's very open with them people in the morning, so she'd often say to people, I've got a chair, anybody else want one? Alan will deliver. So I was driving all over Hull, delivering chairs, dongles, pens, whatever people wanted. Paperwork that needed paying that we hadn't scanned in properly. What it helps us do, though, it's easy for us to say that we enjoy working from home, or we did enjoy working from home. Delivering to people's houses made us aware that some people were struggling. So, I'd knock on the door, have a chat, and we'd see that there was struggling within there. So what we decided to do as a team was we set up a COVID-safe workplace within ARCO. So we set up a bit of our office, which was for our staff to support them during the period. People who were at home by themselves, people who were struggling mentally, and we still do that today, and we've continued right through lockdown with that. I'm in the office today with 7 or 8 people who we support, we look after, and we make sure they get through this from a mental health. So I'm really proud of that. I think it's been massive, and without being the postman and letting everybody pick on me, and that's where my cat was, things like that, it helped. We saw people struggling. Finally, on this bit is, the demand went through the roof, the work went through the roof. We're committed to supplying our existing customers and being loyal to them. They got the first preference. very few new customers we let in because all of our demand was for our own customers. So we were very loyal for our own customers. Very vigilant, a lot of people coming in from all over trying to get mass. So we, like we say, we did a lot of hours manually, if you like, placing orders, walking them through, making sure we got paid. And it helped. And we were very understanding. So where we're a bit tough with our debt collection towards year end, we were more understanding. And I, you know, that one was, I think every one of us has been like that during this. So big question now is, did we get there? Chris? Of course we did. Of course we did. And we celebrated. We believe in celebrating at ARCO. Year end's fantastic. Karen makes a joke that I hibernate from July to December, and then I come alive again because I absolutely love it. So we push for the 6 months. We really go for it. And on the last day of June, when we hit target, we've been watching them figures all day. Karen takes us all across to the pub, or the finance director does, and we all have a good drink to celebrate. A buffet, everything else. We also have a day at the races in August to celebrate. I've been here 6 years with Karen, and not once have we not celebrated our success. So it's a massive achievement. But again, we had this thing, how are we going to celebrate? How are we going to make these people realize what they've just achieved? So the postman obviously filled his car full of beers, crisps, chocolates, and we delivered chocolates, wine, beers, crisps to every one of our team. And we had a virtual day. So we had a bingo, we had a quiz, and we all sat and had a drink together, which was absolutely fantastic. Thank you. We'll go to the next bit, Chris, because after this, obviously, with us being party animals and alcoholics or whatever we've become, Christmas came along. Christmas again, you know, everybody like yourselves, we've all lost our Christmas parties, our dues. So we had to think of a way of, we've had a great year, we've had a great success at year end. Let's do the same. Let's go online. Let's have virtual party. So we set up our virtual year end. We still continue with Christmas jumper day. We still continue with dress your area day, which we do in the office. So somebody's best Christmas tree, they'd send us pictures. Again, postman delivered the prizes. Got plenty of mileage for it, so don't worry about it. All of you feeling sorry for me. As we say, we went into our year end where we did our virtual year end recognition scheme, Christmas karaoke. And if you'd like to go on to the next one, Chris. Thank you. We did a Christmas pantomime. The dame, as I've said, who was available for hiring with the blue wig, I know you can't believe it, is myself. And we did a pantomime for the staff, which they absolutely loved. The culmination of all of this was the year-end awards. So we do recognition awards for staff who go above and beyond. This year, we did exactly that. But the final award, and the big award, if you like, which is the Employee of the Year, was delivered by our finance director in the style of Annika Rice. So those of you who can remember Annika and Challenge Annika, and she went out and about, running about the streets. Helen, who's our finance director, decided to deliver the award live, filming it on a phone camera and zooming it back to the office. So we hope this works. We'll show you the award. Please enjoy. Oh, we haven't got the sound. So I'll try and talk through what Helen was saying. Helen's just explaining to everybody what she's going to do. She's going to knock on someone's door. She's currently in the area, if you like. So we're all looking excitedly. I've gone down to my front door ready to accept the award. Very upset, obviously, when it wasn't me. So Helen's just explaining that. And if you watch some of the faces as she's explaining it and what goes on, I don't know if we can. No, it's not working. There's no sound.
I think you need to unmute yourself, Chris.
What that extra mile might be.
Oh, Chris, come on.
We'll elaborate this year.
Schoolboy error.
Really helpful and will support on all issues. Fantastic work ethic and commitment to ARCO. And this final one may well give it away. Friendly and welcoming, a lovely lady. Any guesses?
Lady, I don't know.
Could be any of the wonderful ladies we work with.
Exactly, Will, you're right. You stole the words right out of my mouth.
What are you going for?
You're gonna have to tell us, Helen, in case we get it wrong.
I think
You need to go and knock on the door, but we'll see who disappears off the screen.
my tech.
Oh, you've gone blank on us, Helen.
So
Right,
this is
really tense now, isn't it?
Just make sure everybody's on mute
Who's got
so
our
that
drum roll?
yeah.
so she's outside the house.
Yes, at the
She's
moment.
left.
Yeah.
Oh, the house is like a million miles away, one or the other.
Can you see me?
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm back. Yeah,
They're
I'm
not in,
walking
they're at
down
the pub.
Walking down the street, it's a bit dark. So yeah, I'm getting closer and I'm going to be very COVID secure and leave the award on the doorstep. Gosh, I hope I get to the right house here, otherwise someone will think I'm pretty random.
I
Right,
think the person might have sussed it out now.
Person, Helen.
you think they might have done? Right, I'm going to put this nice glass award on the doorstep. Sorry, I'm fumbling around with my tech. But it's going on the doorstep. And I'm gonna just knock and then stand back. Oh, there's a bell. I'll ring the bell. Here we go. Let's see what happens. Oh, I hope they're in.
Oh, I love this live show, really.
Alan's putting his wig back on.
Hi, Sally. Right, hang on. I need to
Never again.
I
Never
have
again.
a problem here. You don't want to see me. Right. Here we go. It's all just make sure you're on mute. Thank you. Really well deserved. Yeah, no, really well deserved indeed. And I've got a poem just to sum it up, so you can stand back. We'll try and take some of the focus off you for a minute. And sorry to disappoint, I know you'd have liked food delivery, but instead, yeah. So instead, it's just a few words from me. So hopefully, I can read this poem. In fact, I'll just stand under the light. Can everyone see Sally? I don't want to embarrass you. Okay. So
There we go.
So thanks for letting us share that with you. As you can tell, it went down really well in ARCO. I stood outside at my door waiting for hours, very disappointed when the result didn't come. Maybe this year, I don't know. But thank you, that's my bit, and thanks for letting us share that with you.
That's a good idea, actually, doing that.
It went really well.
You need pretty good. You need pretty good 4G coverage, though, don't you?
We went and did a bit of a test case beforehand on the Monday. I had to actually go and deliver something else to a house, and I rang my boss, and we did a pre-check of it. So yes, we're a bit organised. Yeah.
All right, thanks, Alan. And I think listening to that sort of highlights that we do have a lot of our staff that do live within the whole region, which I suppose might be more unique than in some companies that might have the workforce spread further afield from their offices with longer commutes. So my role is a continuous improvement analyst for finance. And when we first went home, I think Karen's first concern was how on earth was I going to be able to carry on doing my job and getting groups of people together, walking the offices, walking to the other offices within the town centre to sort of have that stakeholder engagement. But I was sure that I could do it, and Karen trusted me too, and there was no need to put me on furlough. And I think it was in a short space of time. Karen and I realised that I absolutely could do the job. We just needed to change the way that we worked. And that was followed shortly after, as Chris alluded to, when we were back in touch with Sharon and saying, can we achieve the CICMQ assessment? And you know, Chris said, go ahead, if you think you can do it, you know, and prove it, which we did. And I think Sharon will agree, it went swimmingly. And we secured our accreditation in June, so that was brilliant. So I've shown on here some of the focuses really that we worked on throughout the year. We knew that we needed to continue to improve our processes, and in particular needed to be more paperless in all areas. And we also had new staff, you know, coming through all the time, so we needed to find the best way of recording and sharing information. So we did that using our Ring Central, which is similar to Zoom technology, where staff members would actually record themselves in private on a Zoom call and sharing their screen to themselves, and they'll be talking through how to do the processes. And that's been really useful, because I could then take it, I could replay it 2, 3 or 4 times so that I could fully understand the process, and I could do screen grabs as I went through, that I could then produce those into standard operating procedures. So that was a really useful way of working, and the team, you know, could then, when you're actually training on a process, you could leave them with a video as well as your notes, so they could get those little tips that you get when you're demonstrating something on, oh, watch out that, you know, or this is particularly slow, but don't worry, the screen does come through in the end, and that sort of thing.
That's a cracking idea. Did anybody else do that? Steve, you did it as well. Anybody else do that with their organisations?
We did. Yeah, we've done the same. We record on Teams, and we're now updating all of our user guides with videos.
Right. Okay. Thanks, Laura. Okay. Well, that was really good. Okay, carry on. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's okay. Yeah, we also, I didn't know it existed, but the Steps Recorder, which is a Microsoft feature, and that was really useful, because actually that took the words and actually, you know, said go to X screen, enter into so-and-so field. So that was another good one that we used. So as well as the sort of the process and becoming paperless, we obviously had to make sure that we remained compliant in all aspects, and that included the delivery of the changes that we needed for the off-payroll working, the HMRC obligation that came live for small and medium enterprises, aka IR35. So we had to have lots of stakeholder engagement and change to processes to bring that in. And because payroll is within Karen's remit, and finance related projects, that fell into my area too. As we mentioned earlier, we're also in the process of moving offices. So we were in Waverley Street in Hull, which is a building we've occupied for a number of years. But as part of the road improvement scheme that's coming on the A63, which comes into Hull, we needed to move to some brand new purpose-built offices overlooking the river, which is a little bit further to the east within Hull. So it's a beautiful building. I've got a slide later on to show you, but obviously the moving out of the offices was a challenge in itself, especially when we've got to adhere to all of the COVID rules, and you know, and our desire to be safe at all times. So it was a challenge, but again, with some coordination and some fantastic staff being flexible, we managed to clear the office out. And I'm one of the change agents, which is part of the project team, listening to any concerns that staff have about the move, and feeding in maybe learns that we had from the old office of things that we want to continue, or things that we hope to not continue. So that's been really good, sort of being that voice of the people, and sharing information between the two teams. We were hoping that we'll be moving into the new office in June, obviously, again, with all the safety precautions in place, and we're going to have individual induction days for every member of staff to make sure They know, how to move safely about the building, new car parking and room booking arrangements, etc. So that's really exciting to think that we're going to do that. We also sort of have a lot of importance on gauging how staff are feeling all the time. It was something that we were keen on beforehand, but even more so, as Alan has mentioned, it's making sure we really understand how people are feeling. So we had tried lots of new ways of doing interactive sessions, such as gauging, live surveys, having individual focus groups. We have a monthly Q&A where our director talks directly to all of us. We sort of dedicate 2 hours, and it's just to keep everybody informed of how we're doing, what's everyone thinking, and we try and inject some fun into that as well. Because the main thing is that we try to be as transparent as possible and tell the staff what we're thinking about, what we're trying to do, even if it doesn't come to fruition. People, they're not kept in the dark, and we found that people really appreciate that open and honest way of working. We've delivered small system changes throughout the year. This is more supporting the accounts receivable functions, but then we've now started focusing on larger system changes to support new ways of working and automation. Chris, if you could pop onto the next slide, please. So equally, there's lots more planned on the next 12 months as well. So becoming totally paperless. We want to automate and gain insights into our accounts payable areas, and across the piece need to strengthen controls and put some really robust governance frameworks in place. In particular, we're focusing around our procurement activity, automating the accounts payable function, and bringing in an automated procurement system. We already have a cash management policy, but we've extended that further. We're now trying to bring in banking policies and delegations of authority policies, again to try and speed up the process, because we had quite a slow churn of invoices going through various people before they're getting signed off, and sometimes being pushed up for a senior sign off where that wasn't necessary. So we're streamlining that process and bringing in some automation to make it slicker and quicker. We have some sort of more focus groups set up to make sure we're continuously getting feedback on topics like the new ones are, does time fly when you're at home? Should it fly at home? Do you want it? Do you want it to fly at home, or is it too fast? How are you doing? And focusing on how we can make our one-to-ones most effective again at the moment. I'm also going to be focusing on, we have a transactions team, which is a new one that was brought in just as we started working from home. So now that it's embedded, we're going to be reviewing those processes and the objectives, using the tools that we talked about, and then whilst running alongside that, making sure we're investing in our people, in our learning and development all the time. And actually, we're going to try something new this year with take on some apprentices, because we feel there's a lot of value in having new starters that work for a shorter period of times in a range of functions across finance, because they end up with a broader insight into how it all hangs together, and they end up being a valuable tool for the teams that they join, because they're taking that extra bit of knowledge to them. So we've seen that work successfully ourselves in the past, so we hope to deliver that this year as well. And that wraps up for me. I can just see, Steve, you've got a question. How often do we do one-to-ones? Well, I think it's fair to say that we try to do a monthly one-to-one officially, but really it's been, we're daily in touch with people, and as the team managers feel there's a need to have a more regular one-to-one, they'll jump on that and they arrange that when it's needed. So
yes, I
the
think,
one-to-one.
sorry, Linz, I think as formal as it gets, we do 6 to 8 weeks as a formal one. Like Lindsay said, we've continued with the calls, and because they've been successful, we tend to identify on a daily basis who's not right, who isn't, and go into a more one-to-one informal chat after that, but definitely within 6 to 8 weeks as regards performance.
Okay, thanks, Alan.
Okay.
Do you want to flick the
Okay.
slide? Yep.
Okay, so that was just, as I mentioned earlier, that's some images of, on the left is a computer image of what our new offices will look like, and on the right, that's where we're up to at the build. We're literally onto the 4th floor now, just doing a bit of snagging work. Glorious views across the city as well as across the river. We've got a top deck viewing area and two platform areas. So yeah, it's really exciting for everybody.
And I think just to add on that, obviously, our plan going forward is not to have everybody back in the office. You know, we're going into a blended model where they will, generally everybody wants to do a couple of days at home and a few days in the office. So this will be more of a collaborative, office where we'll go and meet other teams. If you're going to just sit and do your emails all day, then you'll be expected to do that at home. So that's how it's set up. So it's obviously COVID secure when it first opens in June, but then going forward, we're not allowing for all 600 staff to be in the office at one time. So we've sort of planned for that going forward. Okay, and do you want to just go to the last slide?
Yep, there you go.
So hopefully that's give you a bit of an insight of how ARCO's worked over the last sort of 15 months. I think what helped us, we had a good model to start with. We'd put a lot of the embedded stuff with sales, how our team work, how we collect cash, how we, manage our age of debt, etc. And I think we just built on that. So, we continue to build a good work, both with our sales colleagues, our customers as well, but also our staff. It has been tough. I can't say it hasn't. There has been tears by a few people, and probably even on this call with us as well. And it's hard work, and some of us have had put some long hours in, but it's shown in the results. And strangely enough, we have actually had fun along the way. So Alan turning up at my door to deliver stuff and then going off somewhere else. And actually what he hasn't said, he's on after this call, he's on his trip round, he's on his Postman Pat trip after this as well to drop a few things off. But what I think we have shown on here is, we've continued to do continuous improvement. Lindsay's done a fantastic job, and we've still got a long list of stuff. We haven't stopped, and last year we thought we're going to have to, and we haven't. And we're embedding for our future, so that we can continue to deliver and have fun along the way as well. As you see, we do. So, so thanks for listening today. Hopefully, you've got some insight into what ARCO's is about.
That's great. Does anybody have any questions that they want to ask Karen before I run the poll that we're going to be running today? Anybody got any other questions for Karen? The things that struck me, no laptops, but a more flexible working environment with the people is something that you learned from that. I like the COVID safe work for people that weren't coping at home. You could actually come into the office if you wanted to. I thought that was particularly good. I like the Zoom recordings and the whole going totally paperless. Has that? I mean, as Lindsay, as you're the change agent, if you like, has ARCO this whole COVID thing, has it significantly changed the view on paperless, or was it always there, or is this accelerated it, or what?
Yeah, it's really accelerated it, Chris, and I think it helped, some of those obstacles that you thought, no, we'll never get over it, or we might debate it forever trying to sort it out. It just expedited it, and and we've discovered knowledge and skills and tools that we didn't know existed in a really short space of time.
Yeah, that's true. I think many organisations will say the same. I'm going to stop sharing this now because, as I say, I want to run this poll that I quickly put together. This particular poll, we talk about the new normal in this poll, and also about what concerns you going forward, and also a piece about paperless stuff, which I think you might find an interesting question right at the end. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to run this poll. Everybody gets an opportunity to answer the questions. This poll, with regards to the new normal stuff, I ran about a month ago. So it'll be interesting to see the change. It's exactly the same questions as a month ago, just to sort of see what the change is, and we can do a quick comparison afterwards. So I'm just going to launch the poll now. So if you can answer these questions, that would be great. So there's 41 people still remaining on the call now. So so the first question is, do you think we have now arrived at the new normal that everyone has spoken of? Not yet. Yes, no, or don't know. Has your organisation made a decision about the future of office, home or hybrid working? Whether they have or not, what do you want it to be? As a credit professional, what worries you the most in 2021? And for the automation special, 29th of April, which is next week, the Zoom call we have set up next week, have you implemented paperless DD and Audis in your organisation? So those are the questions so far. So let's see how we go. We've got 26% have responded so far. Okay, we're up to 39%. Okay, 78%. We'll get to 90 something, and then we'll call it a day. Okay, we're up to 80, 90%. 90% have voted. Okay, let's end the poll there. So we've got 90% have now voted. That's great. Okay, I'm now going to share the results. So do you think that you have now arrived at the new normal? 16% said yes. 18% said no. Not yet. 61%. That's 58% last time we did this. So people are less certain now. And don't know is 5%. So again, that's slightly more than last time. Question 2: has your organisation made a decision about the future of home working? Yes, 100%. 39% have said that, which is double roughly what was said last time. 24% no, not yet. Still looking into it. It's still a high number. It's still 37% of organisations haven't made that decision yet. Whether you want to or not, what do you want it to be? And exactly the same as last time. 8% say they want to work from home all the time. I guess they finally got fed up with the partners. And then we've got work from home 100%, 0%. Work from the office, sorry, 100%, 0% want to do that, which is exactly the same as we had last time. 76% want a hybrid workplace, and 16% want to go into the office for team meetings and one-to-ones. So there's more around wanting to go into team meetings and one-to-ones. So as a credit professional, what's the thing that most concerns you in 2021? And the thing that most concerns you is 61% is the rise in insolvencies, 11% maintaining good stakeholder management, 8% managing remotely, too many payment plans, 3%, and doing more with less, 18%. So the rise in insolvencies is a really big concern. And finally, the automation special. So if you've answered no to this, that's 47% of you. You need to get onto the automation special call next week, right? Which is Thursday, all about paperless direct debit and Audis, which is the automatic direct debit instruction system. If you don't do it, this is something that you should now really do, because only 21% of people on this call say that they do it, and 32% say they don't know. Surprising, but anyway, yeah. So if 47% of you have not implemented automatic direct debits and paperless direct debit, and you should really be thinking about doing that now. So next week on Thursday 11 o'clock we have the automation special, which is the 100th Zoom call, and we've got Charlotte Rose on that's going to be talking about that and talking about paperless direct debit and how you can do that for yourselves. So that's interesting stuff there. Some interesting results on that one, and I think I'll publish those as well at some point.
Chris, on that call next week, has an invite gone out?
No, not yet. The invites go out a couple of days beforehand.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's not. I'm just going to close that down now. It hasn't gone out yet, but it's due on the 29th next week. If people want to join that call, and they're not on the normal database, ping me CICMQ at CICM.com. CICMQ at CICM.com, and I'll add you to the list. We've already got people wanting to join on it, and we haven't really advertised it yet, but we're going to be doing that next week. So paperless direct debit analysis. There will also be a giveaway at the end of that as well, which will be a white paper on that we've put together for that as well, which should help organisations as well. So so that's it. So I'm going to wrap up this call now. So thank you very much indeed, Karen Holdstock, Lindsay Jones, and Alan Wardrobe from ARCO. Brilliant, well done, you guys. Fantastic presentation, really enjoyed it, and very interesting stuff that you've done. And interestingly, also, we were talking about accounts payable and accounts receivable and all the various sides of the same coin. Karen is one of the is a credit manager by trade, if you like, but she's one of the few credit managers that has made that progression up to financial shared service centre head of. Right, and which is the way that credit managers should be going, I hasten to add. We shouldn't be sitting there waiting for stuff to happen. We should take the bull by the horns and try and get into some of these more senior roles as part of financial shared services. I think we all recognise that there will be, we will be doing more with less. Organisations are consolidating their functions, especially around AP and AR. So we really need to understand that better, and as credit professionals, it's something that we've done. So well done, Karen, on making that leap. That's brilliant, and we're really pleased that we've had somebody on that's done that. So thank you very much indeed, everybody. I'm going to sign off now and stop the recording, but we will carry on afterwards, and this will be appearing on YouTube in the next few days or so. So thanks very much, everybody, and look forward to seeing you all next time.